this new video. We're going to be talking about mistakes small business owners make about their backups, right? So you could have a ransomware today, and are you going to be able to use the backup? So mistake number one is small business owners do not test that the backup actually working, right? Can be recovered. So what's going to happen is, as a small business owner, you're going to take, you probably have a system that might automate the backups on your most important file. And at the end of the backup, it's going to let you know that the backup has been successful. But on your end, you think because I've received this notification that the backup is successful, it means that everything is working with that backup. But that's not always the case, right? The reason that is because there are several things that can happen for that backup to show a successful notification, but when you try to use it the next time, it's going to be unusable, and that is basically the equivalent of having no backup. So to give you a few examples that could happen, that could make the backup unusable. Example number one would be a silent error has happened, right? So that error wasn't enough to stop the backup process, but it was not nevertheless an error. And what happened is the backup is gonna complete, but when you're gonna try to use it the next time, it's not gonna be possible, right? Another thing that can happen as well is if you're not too familiar with that backup process, you probably only maybe selected to back up the files, but not the database, or you backed up the database, but not the files. That is something, if you're using WordPress, it's one of the options that you have. So depending on the system, it's just what I'm just trying to say is you have wrongly selected the configuration for your backup. And when you try to restore that backup, because some files could be missing, that backup is not going to work, right? You have another example where maybe the credentials could have changed in the meantime, or you have the wrong credential, you never tested that, right? Or also just the OS version. So the backup that you have taken was on the previous version, but meanwhile, the system, the live system, your production system is now on a different version, on the next version, and there is a conflict of version and you never tested that. That could be another issue. So I've given you there a few examples of when you could have taken a backup and trying to restore it, it would not work, and there are other reasons like that. So this is why it is important to have in your process, the time to at least test some of the backup that you have, right?